problem that I have, I think the police did what they were supposed to do. They came in, they came through the door, they arrested him, he's bonded out since. The problem that I have is that there's this thing that we're dealing with right now that's called mental issues.
Man, Shannon Sharpe went nuclear on Gervonta Davis like he was back on the football field throwing hits, not takes. He didn't comment, he clapped. The man basically said, this isn't even about boxing anymore, it's about accountability. You could hear the frustration dripping from every syllable, like he was watching yet another superstar torch his career for street validation.
Davis, Jake Paul, if you guys haven't seen Gervonta Davis in another sexual assault allegation, lawsuits incoming, potentially criminal charges levied, we don't know.
You can't keep blaming the world for your own decisions, Shannon said, shaking his head like a disappointed uncle. That's when you knew this wasn't ESPN talk. This was therapy, live. He was hurt for Tank, but he was heated too.
It happened, you knew it happened, then you made the fight anyway. So now, based on something you already knew happened, now you're just saying, oh no, because this happened, we're not going to do the fight. But you knew already in the first place.
Yeah, the history was already there.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And for this particular situation, by the way, mind you, the girl now is coming with a civil suit.
Yes.
She probably saw that he signed the Jake.
Because let's be real, Gervonta Davis isn't some rookie who doesn't know better. He's one of the best fighters alive with the world in his hands, and he still found a way to drop the ball off the court. Fans were torn half cheering Shannon for telling the truth, half saying he was acting holy for views, but come on, right? We all know when Shannon cooks, he cooks with fire and frustration, not filters. He's seen too many young black athletes rise, fall, and blame the system when it's really their reflection in the mirror. And the timing, brutal.
Protector is the abuser. You lose a sense of protection of what you think a protector should do. Because, nah, you're supposed to protect me from this. If someone is trying to do this to me, you're supposed to jump in and be my superhero. You're not supposed to commit this act.
Tank's name was already trending for the wrong reasons, and Shannon's rant basically sealed the internet verdict. The man's reputation just took another left hook. But here's where it gets spicy. Shannon wasn't just calling out Tank. He was calling out the culture. We glorify the wrong things, he said. We cheer bad behavior until it ruins them. That's not commentary, that's a sermon. And after that, the internet split like church and club hours. Some said he was right. Others said he was clout chasing. But one thing's for sure, Shannon Sharpe didn't just speak his mind. He set it on fire. When that mugshot hit the timeline, it was like watching a heavyweight KO in slow motion.
To look to a replacement or both, I don't know. And the rumor was one of the replacements was talked about and even offered to Ryan Garcia. Well, here is Ryan Garcia's promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, speaking on that rumor and what's next for Ryan.
It's happy Saturday, so I wake up to calls from reporters asking me about Jake Paul and Ryan Garcia. Let me just tell you why this fight is not gonna happen. Ryan Garcia fights for DAZN, and Jake Paul fights on Netflix. I mean, that's pretty much the bottom line. Golden Boy has a contract with DAZN. Ryan Garcia has a contract with Golden Boy. And that's just the way it is. I mean, this is business. You know, Ryan Garcia's probably going to go on a rant saying, oh, you're keeping me from making money and this and that and fighting. No, you have to go by the law, by the rules. You have a contract with DAZN. You have a contract with Golden Boy. It just doesn't happen that way. So anyway, until next time, we'll see you Saturday for Virgil Ortiz. But again, Ryan Garcia's next fight will be announced by me, who he's fighting, and when he's fighting next.
You could feel the disbelief. Fans weren't just reacting, they were grieving. How does the face of modern boxing keep finding himself in handcuffs instead of headlines? And just when people tried to defend him, the details started leaking. The whispers became full-on storm clouds, the kind that cancel sponsorships and end fights overnight. Shannon Sharpe saw that storm brewing and said, nope, we're not pretending this is okay. But here's where it got chaotic. Gervonta's loyal fan base didn't take that lightly. They came for Shannon like he was the one who pressed the charges. You're supposed to uplift him, not tear him down, they cried. But accountability feels like hate when you're addicted to excuses. Still, Shannon wasn't alone. Analysts, trainers, and even some fighters quietly agreed.
Imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Lawsuit comes 2 months after Davis's previous domestic violence case was dropped by a different ex-girlfriend and the mother of 2 of the boxer's 3 children. I just think MVP is in the business of being the home of women, right? At this point, like that's a huge part of their identity. What is their identity? It's Jake Paul and women's boxing. That's their identity right now. And they've done a phenomenal job for the women.
Tank's biggest opponent isn't Ryan Garcia or Haney or Shakur, it's himself. Every headline that starts with Gervonta Davis arrested chips away at his legend, and Shannon just said what everyone else was too scared to admit. By the time the dust settled, the conversation wasn't about boxing at all. It was about manhood, self-control, and wasted potential. Shannon looked into the camera and said, "I love him, but love doesn't mean lying." That line right there, that's the mic drop moment. Now you know Jake Paul couldn't resist. As soon as Gervonta's arrest story broke, Jake sprinted to X like it was weigh-in day. The man typed faster than Tank throws combinations. His words? Ruthless.
It always seems like when Oscar decides to address something with Ryan Garcia, that he's not only addressing us, the people, that he's addressing Ryan Garcia. He's like, through us, telling Ryan, no, you're not fighting Jake Paul, no matter how much you want to fight. That's what it seems like, is like, no matter how much you want to fight Jake Paul, you're not fighting him. I don't even think that was meant for us. I think that was him telling Ryan. And you can hear it there. He's like, oh, Ryan's going to say, I'm keeping him from making money or whatever. But in this case, Oscar is right. If Ryan is signed to Golden Boy and Golden Boy is exclusively signed to DAZN for, fight rights, then Ryan has to fight on DAZN. I think that's pretty reasonable for Oscar. I didn't know that Golden Boy was exclusive to DAZN. I didn't know that was a thing.
Gervonta Davis is an actual walking human piece of garbage, he posted. That wasn't PR, that was a digital punch to the face. And you could feel the internet divide like Moses just split the timeline. Jake's supporters were chanting facts, while boxing purists called him a clout hyena, feeding off Tank's downfall. But one thing's undeniable. Jake knows how to hijack a moment. Even Shannon Sharpe reacted to Jake's rant, calling it low and unnecessary. But the truth? That tension between Jake and Tank has been boiling for years. This arrest was the excuse Jake needed to throw.
And so how, with these allegations lingering and now coming to light 2 weeks before, how can you go through with it? And it sounds like they feel the same way. It's an impossible spot to be in.
The only part I'd say is, like, you kind of know who this guy is ahead of time. Like, this is not exactly a shocking revelation. Like, Tank Davis is, this is not the first rodeo. But I do think it's too close to the fight to really be, messing around here. Like, you got to figure out a new solution.
His hardest shot online, not in the ring. But here's where the twist hits. Jake's moral high ground isn't exactly Mount Everest. Fans instantly dug up his own controversies. "Oh, you suddenly care about ethics?" one user wrote. "You built your career on chaos." So instead of it being about Tank's arrest, it turned into a full-blown war of hypocrisy. Jake got his viral moment, but he also got dragged through the mud. And Shannon? He sat back, sipped his tea, and basically said, "See what I mean?" At first, it sounded like a standard post-incident take. But the more he talked, the more it turned into something deeper. He wasn't analyzing, he was pleading. You could tell Shannon's frustration came from watching too many gifted athletes self-destruct. He said, "You can't save people who don't want to be saved." And man, that line hit harder than a Tank uppercut. He called out the fake street mentality, the obsession with proving toughness instead of protecting success. "Why do we glorify struggle and shame stability?" he asked. It wasn't even a rhetorical question, it was a cry of confusion from a man who's seen greatness die young. Social media lit up. Half the internet called him preachy. The other half said, "Finally, someone said it." And maybe both were true because Shannon didn't sugarcoat. He convicted. He made every young athlete watching stop and think, am I next? In that moment, it wasn't about Gervonta anymore. It was about the cycle. Fame, fall, repeat. And Shannon Sharpe wasn't just commenting on it, he was begging the next generation to break it. If you were online that day, you saw the battlefield. Hashtags flying, memes loading, and everyone claiming moral superiority. Tanks, he said, "When you lose your image, you lose your income." And he wasn't wrong. Tank's marketability dipped faster than crypto in 2022. Shannon knew the business side of sports reputation isn't PR fluff, it's currency. The memes, edits, reaction videos, they turned a man's mistake into entertainment. And that's what made Shannon's rant feel so raw. He wasn't laughing. He was mourning. He ended it simply. You can't win the fight outside the ring if you keep fighting yourself. No background music, no dramatic fade out, just truth. And that's how this story closed. Not with punches, but perspective. Shannon wasn't trying to destroy Gervonta Davis. He was trying to save him from himself. Because sometimes the hardest hits come from love. And sometimes the loudest silence is when the cameras turn off.